Okay then, for those that want to see the full project build dog, I'll drop the link in the description. This is Connor's previous build, just over 1 year old now. Same concept, we made a flip, power supply down to the bottom, motherboard upside down, basic stock Intel cooling. It's really begging for something a bit more, so we've got water cooling this time. Just moving around to the other side, on the front, had some grilled areas and a few sort of different concepts. Maybe try and reincorporate some of those in a different style. This was the main one, which was the tubing that came out of the top of the case. Perhaps maybe try to incorporate something like that for the water cooling tubes or cables or something to that effect. But that is my single favourite part of the case and Connor's. This was the side panel, which for his first cut was pretty damn impressive. Moving on to the new case, same sort of concept, it's a flip. We've got a little bit more areas that need some cutting, panels to be removed, specifically the front. I'd imagine Connor's just going to take out this entire section here and either fit a grilly or a new plate, depending on which concept he goes through to use, because there is still a couple floating around. Before he finalises and moves on, let's pop those feet off, because obviously the top has been rotated over and will now be the bottom. We've got the power supply up here, which will be boxed in with a little bit of a twist. Try and go for something a bit non-standard there, away from the traditional. That's down to Connor and his designs, which he's still working with for rad placement. This is the first concept we came up with, which is to put it right up against the side panel, or on the back side of the case, or maybe up front. Up top isn't really an option with this case without relocating the power supply. As you can see, we're just clashing here. It's not really doable. Down the bottom probably is, but then you've got the risk of it hitting the motherboard and all the different things, so it's just not really doable with a 360 anywhere. Next up is the location or mount of the reservoir and pump. We've got this point at the bottom here, which will be behind the rad. It sits sort of middle. Or we could swap that around and have the rad behind it, the reservoir, the pump sit in front. Just going to have a look at the different concepts, or we could mount it further up. Somewhere in the middle region, try and make a plate or a bracket of some sort. I suppose the other option is if we've got the radiator up front there, the rad raise at the bottom, bring tube straight down to that inlet there from the raise to the block and back up the rad. That would be working with some hardline tubing such as the E22 tubing. It would definitely take something like that with some fittings to make it work. Next for fan choice, Connor is pretty much set on the Phobia NEB loops, the 1600 RPM editions. They're a given, they'll definitely be going in. Moving on to what is currently the bottom but will be the top of the case. That's obviously going to need some modification to sort out these holes and the grills, that sort of thing. Make some changes to that. He's got a few things in mind what to do with these grilled areas. Obviously the vents at the top one will probably keep them as is. It's a good ventilation for the power supply. No real plans to change those, but probably work on the middle section, the SSD mount. Maybe that could stay, I don't know. We'll have to see what he comes up with that. Next up was a few mock-up images, no high quality renders here I'm afraid, but this is one of the concepts with the two rads side by side in the front, with the rays in the middle, and all the tubing would be hidden. That way from either side of the case you would see 3 fans stacked either way. That's one possible option. The second concept is pretty much similar, but it's more focused on the window. As you can see, we've got the 3 fans stacked from top to bottom. And the middle area where you've got your cable management, there would either be some etching done on the window to hide that area, or over the 3 fans on the acrylic window and actually fit a 360mm grill on there. We're still open to debate as to which way he wants to go with that. He's not finalised that the red marking is obviously the PSU cover. Okay, then the final concept is to stick with one 360mm red and then have it on the back side of the case, flush against the side where the motherboard is. And what that would allow them to do was to fit it in reverse with the barbs facing outwards, so it would actually come out of the redundant side panel, the panel in which the back of the motherboard trays normally sits, where you'd bundled up your cables. But you would bring his tubing out, and using either 45 or 90 degree fittings, you would then bring it down to the bottom, 45, 90, back in again, and that would feed off to the pump or raise. Now the benefit of this one is you still get the illusion of the previous concepts. If when you're looking in from the right hand side into the case, you can still see the red. You could have a stack of fans in there, lights, but it gives you the option to use a different raise, such as a tall tube raise, lights. I'm really not sure. I'm going to have to look into terms of space and fittings. The biggest concern with this concept is if we have all these different fittings, 45s and 90s, but it's definitely unique, the idea of bringing the tubing out. And the fourth concept, which I haven't got an image at hand with, is just the same image we're looking at now, but instead of coming out the side of the case, it comes out the front and down, and perhaps into an X shape or something like that. But he's going to finalise which way he wants to go with it, depending on what we can source, what's doable. So that is pretty much it. That covers Connor's current plans. We'll call this part one of hopefully many. Keep you updated in the loops. I'll try and drop some links below for build dogs, that sort of things, because I know videos aren't for everyone, but I've had to make this video for the forum readers just to explain things. So yeah, thanks for taking the time to watch it, and see you soon.